What's up everyone, welcome back to Lexalexus. Today it is the return of the championship after the international break. It is match day 6 and it is the return of my weekly championship score predictions. If you guys want to be involved in the Lexalexus Football Prediction League, you have to simply comment your predictions in the comments down below. I'll always leave the games in the description down below so you can pause the video so that you can predict those games. And if you want a recap, this is what the Lexalexus Football Prediction League is looking like. Johnny Barrett still at the top of the league. JR 2010 very close behind. I've climbed up the table a little bit in the top 4 at the moment, so hoping to close that gap a little bit. And this is what the League 1 Football Prediction League is looking like as well. Hopefully we get some new members today, that'll be exciting. But if you guys like what you see, please give the video a like, it does tremendously help the channel. Let's go for 20 likes in this video, that'll be terrifically appreciative. Please, if you've not hit that subscribe button, please do so. It does really help the channel. We're trying to push to 800 subscribers as soon as we can. That'd be fantastically appreciative. And please share this video and this channel to as many people as you can. All of that really helps. But without any further ado, let's start going through my predictions for game week 6 of the championship. So we start off by predicting tonight's game, Birmingham going up against Derby. So you guys are going to have to get your predictions pretty quickly for this match. So with these two sides, definitely with their positions in the table, I think they may have overachieved for what some people may have thought. Birmingham in 8th, definitely a big overachievement, especially of what people have originally predicted for Birmingham, with 8 points as well, with 2 wins in their opening 5 matches. And Birmingham have really found a way to be fantastic on the ball, actually working hard off it as well and taking chances. So I think Birmingham are just growing ever stronger, which I think is really exciting for Birmingham fans to see, but also as a neutral fan for me to see as well. I always will on teams, you know, that may have not been striving to do well all the time. They play a Derby side where definitely they've overachieved as well, with 6 points so far, with 1 win in their opening 5 matches. However, we are hearing reports there could be a points deduction looming for Derby, whether it's going to be 3, 9. We still don't know about that. There could be a fine involved as well. So definitely in the next couple of weeks, we are going to get more clarity on what Derby are going to have to do to survive the season. But getting those 6 points now, I think could prove to be very vital in Derby's season. And the fact we still have teams in the bottom 3 that still have not won their games yet, you know, Derby may not need a lot of catching up to do. So I think those 6 points could prove to be very vital for Derby. And they need to try and keep going against this Birmingham side in this game today. Despite Birmingham not being able to win a match at home so far, Derby for me, definitely if they do not take their chances, especially if most of their squad is going to be filled with young players, it can get exposed at times. And I think Birmingham, with the experience that they may have if Deeney starts or Jukovic starts alongside with Hogan, I think they'll prove to be too much hassle for that Derby backline. So as a score prediction, I'm going to say 1-0 Birmingham. I think it'll be a very cagey game, but I think one chance may just edge it. And FIFA 21 is going for a 2-1 away win to Derby. So the first game, so the 3 o'clock, is Blackburn going up against Luton Town. Two sides very similar in the table, both separated only by 1 point. Blackburn have picked up 2 wins so far, so have Luton Town, to be fair to them. Blackburn have not managed to win in the last 2 matches, and so have Luton as well. So their form has actually been very similar, these two sides. Although I will give Blackburn a little bit of slack because they have played against tough teams, West Brom and Middlesbrough, in their last 2 games. Luton, though, one of those defeats was a 5-0 defeat to Birmingham, so I don't really excuse Luton for that. You can lose a game, but to lose 5-0 in a game really speaks volumes to me that defensively they can be really exposed. And Blackburn, with the quality that they've got going forward and the clinical nature they've got, it can really ruin Luton's chances. Blackburn won't have a lot of the ball. It's their new style. They'll play on the counter-attack and play on opposition mistakes. So Luton got to be very careful with that. As a prediction, I think this would be interesting to see the sort of clash of styles go up against each other here. But I think as a prediction, I might sit on the fence and say a 1-1 draw, but it wouldn't surprise me if any of the sides wins it by 1-0. FIFA 21 is actually going to agree with me and also say 1-1. So next up we've got Blackpool going up against Fulham. Now two sides definitely with very polar opposite starts, ends of the spectrum in the championship table. Of course, Both of these teams weren't in the Championship last year. In fact, they were 2 divisions apart. So the fact they're playing in the same division now is quite extraordinary. But Blackpool, of course, they've not had the start that they wanted, only picking up 2 points. But to be fair, those 2 points were fantastic away points against Bristol City and Bournemouth. 2 comebacks as well. So they definitely deserve credit for the points they got. But it's been their home games where they've really not been able to turn up. Their loss against Coventry especially, I think they should have done a lot better for there. In terms of Fulham though, I mean, I know they didn't win their opening match, but since then, 4 wins in a row, and there's already talks that Fulham could overtake Reading's 106-point record. I'm still not too sure if they can do that, but they definitely got the right squad and the right manager to do it. And Fulham have really been a breath of fresh air. They really have set the bar to beat. If you want to try and get promoted, Fulham is the level you've got to match this year. So it's been a joy to see Fulham so far, and I think, no offence to Blackpool, but I do think Fulham will brush Blackpool aside for me. I'm going to say a 2-0 away victory to Fulham. FIFA 21 is actually going to go for a 0-0 draw. Next up, we've got Bournemouth going up against Barnsley. Now, who remembers this game from last year? I remember this game from last year being the sort of point in the season that proved a lot of doubters whether Barnsley are a top 6 team. And the fact that he managed to beat Bournemouth by 3-2 after being pegged behind twice. It showed unbelievable mettle and character that Ishmael brought into this Barnsley side. I think it was Morris that actually got the winner in the 80th minute. But now they've got a new manager in shop. They've picked up 6 points, 14th place in the table at the moment. Barnsley have been a bit inconsistent for me. I just don't know what to think of them. They've managed to get 3 draws in their opening 5 games, only losing once. So definitely Barnsley are going to be a tough team to beat. Bournemouth still unbeaten in the league, however only 2 wins in those 5 games. So both of these sides for me have really dropped a couple of silly points, especially from leading. For Bournemouth, they obviously led twice against West Brom and threw it away. And of course Bournemouth had a 2-goal lead against Blackpool and they threw that away. Barnsley had a 2-goal lead against Queen's Park Rangers and they threw that away. So these 2 teams know a thing or two in leading, but they're throwing it away. So which team's going to bottle it less? I might just edge Bournemouth based on the squad and based on the fact they're at home. I'm going to say a 2-1 victory to Bournemouth, but I'm really tempted to say a 1-1 draw, and that is exactly what FIFA 21 is going with. So if it ends as 1-1, I'm going to be so annoyed at myself. Let's talk about Bristol City going up against Preston. Now you would argue on paper Bristol City have played so much better than Preston, but actually both sides have actually only won twice in their opening 5 matches. Preston, of course, they did manage to win back-to-back games, so which has recovered their season slightly, but I'm still not overly convinced. I'm a bit excited to see if the likes of Josh Murphy will make his debut, or the likes of Ali McCann will feature as well, or potentially Connor Wickham. I don't know if he will feature, but those 3 transfers can be very interesting to this Preston squad. With Bristol City's perspective, for one reason why I'm not very confident with them in this game is their poor home form. And in fact, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the last time Bristol City won at home was actually that game against Preston last year when they won by 2-0. Now, can it be destiny that they recover their first win at home in over 12 matches if they beat Preston at home again? I do think Preston with their squad, and I think now with the confidence they may have with those back-to-back wins, they might just edge it here. Preston do have the much better record against Bristol City than the other. I'm going to say 1-0 Preston based on the record and based on Bristol City's poor home form. I'm being a bit brave with this prediction and I won't be surprised if I'm wrong. FIFA 21 is going for 2-0 Bristol City. Honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if that's the result. Next up, we've got Coventry going up against Middlesbrough. Now, both these sides have actually got players that I'm really excited to see a little bit more of. With Middlesbrough, I'm really excited to see the likes of Isaiah Jones develop. I think he'll be a fantastic player to see this season. For Coventry's sake, I'm excited to see how Wacom will mix in the likes of Gayor, Kez. I like the fact that they're working with Sheaf as well. I think those 3 have been absolutely brilliant for Coventry so far, and they've been a big part of their fantastic start. Coventry have got 100% record at home so far. Middlesbrough have only picked up 1 win in their opening 5 games, but I do think they have been a bit unfortunate with their 1 defeat of the season. I thought they were very unlucky to lose 3-2 to Queen's Park Rangers in the manner that they did. I think Middlesbrough are going to be a team that will always give you a game. And I think Coventry, there has been a couple of doubts before, and I've seen it in their 2 defeats against Barnsley and Queen's Park Rangers. Just too many times where they've not taken their chances. So I wouldn't actually be surprised if Middlesbrough win this. But I think based on the fact that Coventry are at home, I'm going to say a 1-1 draw. I'm thinking both sides may cancel each other out. FIFA was going for a 0-0 draw. Next up we've got Reading going up against Queen's Park Rangers. Now you would not have believed that within a couple of months ago, both of these sides were really closely competing with each other, going for the higher mid-table position in the Championship. They're miles away from what both of them were at. I mean, Queen's Park Rangers have ascended, but Reading have rapidly descended from that original fate. Now, Reading have lost 4 games out of 5, which is the same amount of losses than Nottingham Forest have had. Queen's Park Rangers still unbeaten in the league. They're one of the 4 teams still unbeaten in the Championship. Reading, for me, definitely need to really get a point or even a win as soon as they can, because if they still continue this poor momentum of 3 losses in a row, they will start sleepwalking into that bottom 3. And I think based on the difficulty they have maintaining a squad with their injuries and their transfer embargo, it's going to be very, very difficult for Reading to compete for the rest of the season. I really do fear for them in the long run that Reading are going to start being left behind, especially with the likes of Sheffield United and Blackpool both eager to try and get themselves off the mark this season. In terms of QPR, they'll definitely be wanting to chase the likes of West Brom and Fulham, and they'll be definitely confident based on the fact they've got a 100% away record, and I think they'll continue that. I think it'll be a close game though. I'm going to say a 2-1 away victory as a prediction for this game. FIFA 21 was going for 2-0 Reading, which is quite an outstanding result. Next up we've got Sheffield United going up against Peterborough. Now I remember 2 weeks ago when Sheffield United were at home to Huddersfield, I said this was the game that Sheffield United start their season. And I even predicted that Sheffield United would not do it, that they would actually throw away a lead and draw by 1-1. And not only did they not manage to win, they managed to lose that game entirely. How can this stuff exist? I mean, Sheffield United, to be fair to them, they have made improvements to the squad in this transfer window. Morgan Giswai coming in, Conor Hurahan coming in, of course. Robin Olsen as their goalkeeper. If he starts, I think definitely at the back it can improve. He has been a goalkeeper I really heavily back. Peterborough as a team, they've only picked up 1 win in their opening 5. They have been a team under pressure with 2 defeats in a row away from home as well. They've been pretty hopeless, to be honest with you, losing both of their home games and actually not scoring a goal either. I look at these 2 sides for the fact they've not scored many goals, thinking maybe this is on course for a 0-0 draw here. But I think based on the new faces, they'll definitely shake up Sheffield United's squad and potentially might try and eradicate some form of lack of confidence. I'm going to say Sheffield United season starts here. You've heard it here first. I'm going to say 1-0 to Sheffield United. It will still be nervy, but I think they may hold on. I'm going to say 1-0. FIFA 21 is actually going for 0-0, which I was so close to predicting. Next up, we've got Stoke going up against Huddersfield. Now, who remembers this game from last year? It was a 7-goal thriller between these 2 sides last year. It was 4-3 to Stoke, I believe. Tyrese Campbell scoring a brace, so he was the star player for Stoke. I think for Huddersfield, I think Carl Eiting was their star man with a goal and an assist in that game as well. So they were the 2 players you had to watch for these squads. I think now it's changed a bit. I think with Stoke, obviously you've got to look at the likes of Sam Surridge and Mario Vrancic, who started pretty well for Stoke. For Huddersfield, I think there's 1 player on everyone's mind at the moment, which is Sorba Thomas. So it'll be interesting to see that dynamic and that head-to-head battle go hand in hand. And I think both these sides right now, for the fact they're in the top 6, I think this is going to be the game of this game week. You know, 2 of these sides are in the top 6. Stoke and Huddersfield, which I don't think we would have predicted at the start of the season. For this prediction, oh my goodness, I don't really want to back a winner because I really like what I'm seeing with both these sides. But I might edge Stoke. I think I've got a bit more confidence with their style of play and the fact that they're at home and with the players and the squad they've got. So I'm going to say a 2-1 home victory to Stoke, and FIFA 21 is going to agree with me. Now we've got Swansea going up against Hull. 2 sides definitely not doing too well so far in this season. But when I ever think of Swansea and Hull, I just think of the bonkers 8-goal thriller we had at the KCOM. 4-4 it was, and I think, was it Tom East who scored a last-minute equaliser for Hull? It was an unbelievable game, and actually it was one of the last few games I remember that we had in the Championship before COVID-19 was a thing. Back in the good old days when life was simple. But now they meet again, and both of them definitely need to pick up their points, both on 4 points each, funnily enough. So Swansea picked up 1 win, of course, which was the away win against Bristol City. Hull, they've not managed to win a game, of not even pick up a point or even score a goal since their opening weekend win against Preston. So I think Hull especially definitely need to get themselves out of the wilderness, because likewise with Reading, the longer this goes on for the fact they cannot score a goal, eventually they'll get left behind and it'll be increasingly difficult for Hull to try and get back to where I think they probably should be, especially with their squad what's capable of. With Martin, maybe there's a little bit of question mark still whether he can take Swansea up a level. They have lost some first team players, of course, in the likes of Connor Roberts and Jamal Lowe, which I think will take some adjusting for Swansea. But I think the fact they're at home and with the style that they play in, I might edge Swansea here. I'm going to say 2-1 to Swansea, and FIFA 20 was going for 1-1, and I was very close with predicting that result as well. Next up, we've got West Brom going up against Millwall. I think West Brom definitely matching Fulham at the moment in terms of their incredible form, still unbeaten in the league, 4 wins in a row, definitely alongside with them, and they are setting the standard. And I think what would be really good as a neutral to see one of these teams go for a really bad stage in the season, just to see the promotion race open up a little bit, see the likes maybe of Stoke or QPR entering into the promotion race at some point. You don't know. That would definitely be the best thing for a neutral fan. In terms of Millwall, they'll be breathing a sigh of relief that they picked up 1 win before the international break. And I felt, likewise with Middlesbrough, they were a little bit unlucky not to get as many points as they have done so far based on their performances. And fair play to them, overturning a comeback to Blackpool. I mean, how they fell behind to a Blackpool side when they had a man advantage, I will still have no idea. But fair play to Jed Wallace and Jay Cooper. Their goals were absolutely exquisite, and they managed to get Millwall a much needed win for me, and I think they've really kick-started Millwall's season now. Millwall can definitely be a side that can definitely halt a really good team's momentum. They've done it so many years, and they've got an experienced enough manager in Gary Rowett. But I think West Brom still, with them being at home, I think with the squad and their style, I think they'll edge it still. So as a prediction, I'm going to say 2-1 to West Brom. FIFA 21 is going for a 1-0 away victory to Millwall. And now the final game to predict is Nottingham Forest going up against Cardiff. This will be played on the Saturday and it will be live on Sky Sports at 2:30. Now, I'm intrigued to see the outcome of this game, to be honest with you. I remember this game last year actually, and I think it was Cardiff that won by 2-0. Both of these sides had a really poor opening game to the season. They met at game week 2. And Cardiff completely ran riot, and it was Kiefer Moore scoring his first 2 goals for Cardiff. Who knew that he was going to score 20 goals in that season, by the way? It was an unbelievable game from Kiefer Moore, and that pretty much kick-started his season last time these two sides met in terms of a competitive championship game. They actually played against each other 3 times last year, so I think both of them are a bit sick of each other for the fact they had to play against each other quite a lot last year. So in terms of a prediction for this game, I would back it on the fact that Cardiff, for me, have looked so much better. I mean, they have lost their first game of the season, last game against Bristol City, where I do think they were a bit exposed and for some reason played a lot more of the ball. If Nottingham Forest play a lot of the ball and they allow Cardiff not to have a lot of it, Cardiff will thrive out of that because they've got the tall physical players to have a set piece and they'll completely punish Forest, where defensively I think they have been a little bit lackluster and disorganised. I'm going to say 1-0 to Cardiff. FIFA 21 is going for a 0-0 draw, which honestly, you know, if any of these results happen, it's not good enough for Forest, and I think Chris Hughton would definitely be under pressure of his job if that happens. So, that wraps up my predictions for Game Week 6 of the Championship. As always, if you want to be featured on the Lexalexus Football Prediction League, make sure you leave your predictions in the comments down below. It's completely free of charge. And if you're wondering, on the left-hand side of the screen here are my Premier League predictions as well. If you do want a prediction league for the Premier League, 1,000 subscribers is when I'll open a prediction league for the Premier League. So if you do want to see that, please make sure you do hit that subscribe button alongside with the like button if you do want to see constant championship content from me. Please also share this video and this channel to as many people as you can. All of that really helps the future of this channel. But that'll wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. I won't lie, I'm buzzing Championship Football's back. You guys are legendary for the end of this video. And as always, I'll see you guys very soon. Take care.